Friends, how'd you do? You can see I went ahead and stitched one half to figure out what the heck we were gonna do next. So, and one important thing that I didn't mention before that I apologize about is this little back screw. When I originally put my pattern on the fabric, I had stitching I needed to do over the back screw. I had it like over here and it was in the way, and so I had to move it. So I want to show you what that looks like in case you need to rotate this. It's a little scary, but it's doable. So basically, you unscrew a little bit. The smallest amount you can get away with. Oh my god, I have this really tight. Whew, okay, there it goes. Wow. Oh, hi, kitty. How are you? Yeah, she gets so happy when I take my son to daycare. Okay, so it's loosened, you can see, and then I can shift it. You see that? Check that out. But see how it's also kind of messing up stuff here, so you don't want to play around with it like I'm doing right now. So put it somewhere where it's out of the way. So in this design, there is that gap, and that's where you can hide it. So do so. I'm just screwing this back up tight. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the stitches I used. You can, skip this part if you want. I'm going to have all this written down, but if you want to hear it from me, you can hear it from me. And then once I finish this side, I'll come back and I'll show you how to finish the hoop, how I glue everything back and cut this out and all that. So, yay. Okay, so I started with the poinsettias. I like to work from inside out. That way, I don't like having to come up with my needle like really close to other work. I'd rather go down, so I work like this way, you know what I mean? Well, hopefully that makes sense. So I started with the lighter red and just worked my way out doing satin stitch. I'm hoping you guys know what satin stitch if you're working on this project. And it doesn't matter exactly, you're just going for an ombre effect here. So you're going to start with the lighter colors and go darker as far as the reds go. I used a full strand for that. And then I came back when I was done and I did the French knots in the middle with this brighter green. What else can I tell you? So from there I moved on to the holly. For the holly leaves, you can see here, I'm trying to get a close-up of this one here. I did satin stitch on either side. So I split the leaves in half and did 2 sets of satin stitch, I guess. And then in the middle, I did a back stitch stem with the lighter color green. Over here, I wanted to show you guys where there's the overlap. We have the holly leaves and we also have the fir branches behind. I wanted to make sure that the holly stood out and didn't get kind of sucked in. So I added a little bit of highlighting here with that lighter green on the edges where the holly leaves touch the fir branches. I only used 3 strands for that. And in my head, I was picturing it as like a highlight, So it kind of helps the leaves pop. And you can play with that with the colors. Like here's the same thing. So I might come in and either do one of the lighter color greens. For the fir branches, there's the 2 different colors. And so whenever I'm near the darker holly, I kind of use more of the lighter fir there. Hopefully that makes sense, because you're playing with the contrast and the colors. And so then for the winter berries here, it doesn't matter how many you do white, how many you do the light blue. It's just fun to kind of mix it up. Did satin stitch with a full strand. For the branches and that kind of brownish gray, I did 3 strands with back stitch. I'm going to show you how I did the winter berries and the holly berries. And I'm going to show you how I did these fir branches. And then I don't know what these are. These are just the magic of Christmas. Just, I don't know what they are, but they're fun. And it's whipped back stitch. So that's fun. I've never used that in a pattern before. So, okay, let's do some stitching. So for the berries and the holly, I used a full strand. So I'm just going to do white. Oh, maybe I'm not. Let's see. Okay, that was an easy knot. Okay. Oops. You just saw my boob on camera. Okay. I need to censor myself. Here we go. So it's backstitch on backstitch. So, I mean, not backstitch. I'm sorry, guys. It's satin stitch on satin stitch. So it's like a padded satin stitch is the word I'm looking for. And you can do as many passovers as you want. Let me grab my little tail. Make sure you guys are in focus. Excellent. Okay. And the direction does not matter. Okay. Be gentle with the fabric, of course. If you're not used to linen, oh my gosh, I came up through my stitch, kind of. It's okay, we're going to cover this. This is just our padding. I think I'm just going to do 3 stitches. And when you transfer this design for the berries, you can just do dots if you want. You don't have to actually draw the circle if you want to save some time. Do what works, you know. Work smart, right? Okay, so there's like layer 1. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction and do the same thing. And with these, you really, tension's important. Like, I'm not pulling too hard because I want them to be puffy, like berries. Spherical would probably be the appropriate term. Oh my goodness. So here's my 4th stitch. I added an extra one here. Excuse me. Okay. What do you think of that? I think I'm going to do another pass. Go in the opposite direction to make it even puffier, just to show you. For most of these, I just did 2. Some of them, I even did 1, like on the holly, because they're so tiny. So it's, I guess it's not really padded satin stitch, it's just satin stitch. But if you want, you know, to give a 3D effect, like some of them are going to pop forward more than the other ones. So the ones that are drawn to kind of look more like in the background, they wouldn't be as 3-dimensional, right? So that's what that's about. And it's up to you how far you want to go with these. Okay, what do you think of that? Hopefully, nope, you can't see that. There we go. We got quite a bit of height on that one. That's cool. Okay, so that's how you do the berries. What else was I going to show you? The fur. So let's see, we have 2 colors for that. Is this right? 520? Yep. Oops, oh my goodness. So I need that, and once again, full strand of both. I started with the darker color. I think I'll do this one because it's small. And if you want to like look at pictures of fir branches while you're doing this, it might help. It makes me kind of, sorry, let me get this needle threaded. Oh my goodness. It reminds me of like the hedgehog pattern. Like in that pattern, like I obviously can't tell you every single direction to go with the spines, and it's kind of the same thing here. Like you're gonna have to trust yourself and see what works. Okay, so what I did is I did like a back stitch for the stem, which is basically gonna get covered, but this way you know for sure your guidelines aren't gonna be peeking through. Okay. Excuse me. We have this this smoke in the air lately. It's making my allergies worse. It's kind of gross. Okay, so I'm just doing like simple single stitches to look like the little pine needles, right? I mean, it's pretty simple. But then I add a couple of detached chain in here just to add a little more depth and a little more thickness and variety, I guess. If you want, like, it depends on how you like the look. So if you want the whole thing to be detached chain, go for it. If you want the whole thing to be just the single stitches, do that. I like a little bit of both for the variety. And you can kind of change the direction. And when you think about a fir tree, like the ones pointing to you are going to look like this. They're going to be at like an angle very close to the stem. So mix up your angles to give more depth, more realism. I'll do another detached chain here. I'll get like some perpendicular angles in here. Some of them go straight out to the side. So it's just kind of random and just filling in that shape. If you want to use like a air-soluble pen to kind of mark it out first, if you want, just if that makes you feel better, instead of this kind of like freehand stitching, please do that. Here's the other color. And I'm basically just going to go fill in the gaps with this color. Oopsies. Oh, I'm having some issues with threading my needles today. I just snipped it, so that should help us. Oh, I should have threaded these ahead of time. Sorry, that's boring to watch. Okay. I'm gonna anchor here. Okay, get back on camera. If you can see that okay. I'm gonna include some nice close-ups of all this stuff in the directions. Oops. Oh my goodness, what has happened? Ah. Well, when did I get a knot? Did you guys see that happen and you didn't tell me? Oh, this is all bad. Okay. Don't tell anyone that I left a knot in my embroidery. Okay. We're just gonna move on like that didn't happen. Okay, filling in the gaps. I think since this one's so tiny, I don't think I'm gonna do any more detached chain. But I'm just gonna fill in a little bit of the gaps. Okay, there's a little fir branch. And let's see, let me grab a pen. Of course, I don't have the pen I'm looking for readily available. There it is. So if you want to use something like this, like a water soluble, or excuse me, use it air soluble, I worry about, like, I wouldn't want to get this wet. Obviously, it's been stained, and we have this bright red. Like, it's just too risky. So, but if you want to use something like this and kind of sketch in what shape you want to fill with those little pine needles, you can do that if that makes you feel more comfortable as far as, you know, where the heck am I stabbing, or even draw them in kind of loosely. Feel free. Do what works for you. Okay, so I think the last thing we're going to do is those little magical Christmas swirlies. I like how I have this just knot of thread here. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is a fun stitch. I've actually never done it before. I was just kind of playing because the little swirlies looked kind of boring with just the one color. So we have two colors, and I love the contrast with the red and these. Oh, I love that together. Oh my goodness. I love color. Do you guys know what I did with my needle? Okay, well that's why we have more than one. That'll show up soon, hopefully. Okay. I got one with a bigger eye. So hopefully I'll have an easier time here. Okay, so you want to take the darker teal, and you're just going to do the swirly in backstitch. The swirly. That must be the official name, don't you think? I would not recommend working with all these random threads. I just am not cutting them to save time, which is probably actually creating a longer video with me dealing with them. Okay, so backstitch along the swirly. I love backstitch. When in doubt, backstitch. Okay, I'm just going to put that over there. That's where I'll need it next. And then the lighter color. Here we go. So if you want to practice this on like straight back stitch first, feel free if you've never done it before. Maybe I'll get a video up before I release this. It's a good idea. Okay, let's start from the base. And I'm probably going to skip that very bottom teeny tiny stitch. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm going to do the whole thing from the top. So I'm not going through fabric. I'm just going to be weaving up and over all these stitches. So you want to go through every single one. And you're going to do the same direction each time. So I'm going to go down. Although that kind of changes as a curve. So hopefully that will make sense. Okay. If you want to use a needle with more of a dull tip because you keep stabbing, please do. Okay, so I'm just pulling it through. And then I go over and under the next. over, under the next. I'll get a better video for you guys of this. Over and under the next. It looks like a candy cane. So it gets a little confusing as you go through the curve, you know, if you need to actually spin it so you can keep going in the same direction, please do. And there's the last one. And then I'm just going to go back down through the fabric. Ta-da! How cute is that? I love it. Okay. So one other thing, if you want, over here I was kind of playing around with doing shadows on the berries. So you can see I did 3 strands, just like a couple of back stitches as a shadow under some of the berries. It gives like a different look. So I still haven't decided what I like better. I'm going to finish this and then decide. If it's even, can you even tell? I don't know. I kind of like it by just them by themselves. So I don't, oh, there's my other needle. Ta-da! Actually, you know what I found is like, this is a good spot to put your needles. They're very easy to find when you put them in the middle. Okay, go stitch and come back and we will finish this hoop. I hope you guys are having fun. Guys, I just wanted to show you those last stitches. Still, hopefully no one got car sick. So I'm gonna do the little candy cane guys. So the swirlies, I'll do one here. I'm just using a micron pen. I'm on cotton right now. Okay, so we'll do a swirly and then I'll do like a branch here, fir branch. Okay, I'm just using a micron. All this. The lines are going to get covered, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so I thought it'd be fun to do the little swirlies in candy cane colors this time. And you could do that. There's white and red in your kits. So if you're not into the weird turquoise colors I chose, do like candy cane colors. Why not? Okay. So I'm just going to do some back stitch. I do my first stitch of back stitch the wrong direction, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure it matters. It looks the same. It acts the same. I'm making my stitches kind of big here just so you can see better. I think if I were really doing this, I wouldn't make my stitches quite so big. And this little swirly guy is much bigger than the ones in the actual design if you're doing them to scale. But I thought maybe it would be easier to see what was happening if I did larger stitches. Look at this frayed piece of thread I'm using. I grabbed the scraps from the actual design I was doing. Okay. So around the curve, it's always good to go a little smaller with your stitches, otherwise you're going to have a boxy curve. I don't know if I covered the line very well over there. It's always hard. I'm not used to using a stand when I stitch, but I know it does help when doing these kind of videos, so it always feels awkward, and then I'm like angled weird because obviously the camera is directly over the embroidery, which is where I like to be when I'm stitching. Yeah, I can see I have a little shadow there. Just ignore that. Okay, I'm just going to park my thread over here because I don't want to have to move my setup here to anchor. Okay, so here's my other color. I'm going to do red, like I said. So I'm just going to pop up. I'm not sure it matters exactly where I pop up. I'm going to go right here. Leave a little tail here. And then you're just going to whip it. Whip it good. So I'm going, what is that? Right to left? Under? And over, left to right. Ooh, that was a lot for my brain to figure out just now. Just do it the same the whole way, and you don't have to really think. Can you see my threads all dented? It's from the bobbin. Luckily with a stitch, it won't matter. If you have that happen, you can get the thread wet and the kinks will come out. You can even iron it. I know that sounds silly. I don't even iron my clothes. Why would I iron thread? But if it really matters. So if you get confused when you're going around this curved part, you can go ahead and like actually move your hoop with you. So that you know you're coming from the same side every time to get that nice swirly look. And I'll just go back in this same hole here that my white was. Oh, it's so cute. I love it. Something weird happened right here. I wasn't paying attention. I think it's going to be okay. All right. So there's the, oh my God, I want to eat it. Okay. So there's our little candy cane. Swirly magic of Christmas. And then I'm going to do the fur right here. Okay, so I start the same way. I'm just going to do some back stitch. I'm going to not do this whole line simply because I don't want to have to grab more thread. So I do the stem to make sure that that's going to be covered. And when you transfer your design, like I said this before, you do not need to draw all these little pine needles in. I'm going to snip these so that I don't get so tangled. Okay. Demonstration purposes only. Actually, I might turn this into a necklace or something. That's so cute. I did like a couple of maybe even different colors of candy canes. It's the cutest thing. Okay. Excuse me. Still dealing with some allergies or something. I don't know. Okay. And I backstitched it all the way up to the top. And we'll say this is the top of our fur. So I'm going to just start doing weird little needles. So they can be any direction. So I'm going to do like a really perpendicular one because some of the needles are going to be like, totally perpendicular to the stem. And then some are going to be more angled. And then like the ones that would be coming straight towards the viewer, they would look really short and really almost parallel. That's the right word. Almost parallel to the stem, like I'm doing here. So you can work the whole thing like this and just do these straight stitches if you want. Wow, that got really twisty. Or if you want to add more depth, what you can do is, let me add a couple more before I show you. You can do the detached chain stitch to make it like puffier and add more dimension and more just texture. That's what this is all about, right? Embroidery is all about the texture. Okay, so I'm going to do one here. Just put in a little detached chain. And if you want to leave it like fluffy, you can. I like it like a little more tight. If you leave it fluffier, it's just going to be a puffier fir branch. So I'll put one here too. So you get to be creative during this part. If you want to do it exactly like I'm doing it, feel free. If you want to put them in weird spots, feel free. just have fun with it. If you want to look at a picture of a fir branch while you're doing that, I think that helps to get an idea of, you know, which direction should I go. So you can see sometimes I overlap the stem, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go under it, sometimes I go into it. It don't matter. It's messy, right? It's a fir branch. So I'll just fill in a few more gaps here. And then I'm going to come in with the other color as well. And there's like enough colors in your kit that if you want, you can even add more greens. Oops. I'm going to have to trim that or pull it through. Oh no, more. There we go. And I guess the nice thing about using this stand is I have two hands I get to use. I just don't like how hard it is to look at the back. I know it's not that hard, it just, I'm super lazy. Okay, we'll call that a day. Can I pull this through? Oh, there it goes. Okay, so then we'll move to the lighter green. And I'm just going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to fill in some gaps using the same stitches. Look at that. You can tell my back is messy if I'm pulling up this much crap. That's what I get for not looking at the back. Okay. And let's do one here. You know, we could put a chain right here. Fit one in. So obviously this isn't planned out before I start. I just go with it. And you can overlap the darker green or underlap. That's not a word. You know what I mean? You're just giving it depth and more texture. Let's do another one. I'll kind of have it overlap the stem a little bit. If you want, you could do the entire stem with those. Or the entire, you know, all the needles could be done with the detached chain. It's really up to you. What you like. That's about it. So, and depending on how thick, I mean, I could have made this a lot thicker too. So, or a lot skinnier. So there's a lot of ways to make it your own. So enjoy. Here we go. We're all done. So I hope you guys had fun stitching the pattern. Let's do this. So I'm going to start with the outer part. I'm going to trim this up. And this is how I normally do my hoops. So I'm just leaving, what is this? Basically you want it to be the same as the thickness of the hoop here so that when you glue it down, it doesn't like overlap on the fabric, but there's enough of it so you can glue it down. Whatever that is. Let's see. Aha! A ruler. These are useful. Okay, except my ruler has way too many measurements on it. So if we're looking at inches here, it's like 1/2 inch, we'll say. Awesome. Let's go with that. I'm so bad at that. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this around. I got these scissors on sale. Have I told you about these scissors yet? I really like them. But yeah, wait for a sale. They're expensive. I just asked the ladies at the fabric store what they use. I figure, you know, they cut fabric all day, so they know what's good. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this over. So you can use whatever kind of glue you're into. Here I am trimming with giant fabric scissors. I would recommend using your embroidery scissors for this, which I should have done ahead of time. Do it whenever you want. I just don't want to glue onto these little wispies, so I'm trimming them. That's what's going on here. Okay, so I'm a big Eileen's fan, and part of the reason is because I'm not a fan of having to plug things in and wait for them to heat up. So laziness. But a lot of people like to use the hot glue gun. I don't know. I don't like ironing. I don't like hot glue guns. It's not like it's that hard to plug something in and wait a second. I don't know. I think I also have like a fear of fires. Anyways, welcome to the anxiety world, right? So whether it's anxiety or laziness, here we go. I like to just use the glue. Okay. And it's pretty thick, so I don't usually have to worry about it dripping too much. And I'm just going to go bloop. And like the excess, it's going to kind of squish up the sides for me. And I will just make a few rounds to glue this down. So if you've embroidered something on the inner hoop, you're just going to want to leave it there. Otherwise, you'll want to follow along with me. You're basically just going to do the same thing as I'm doing here, but folding it out this way. So I'm going to like pierce the center basically. I'm going to get all stabby on it. See if I used enough glue. P.S. You know, you want to make sure you're done before you start this step, and that you are centered where you want to be centered on the hoop. Make any final adjustments, final changes to your tension. I think that will work for us. Okay, so now for this middle part, and I think we'll be able to fix. See how mine's kind of popping out there a little bit because it's so dang tight. You should be able to adjust that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I have my finger underneath here. Don't cut yourself, but I'm just going to get stabby here like that and make a hole. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a little 1/2 inch overhang here. And I'm then going to glue back. And that's pretty much it. So here I go, snippy, snippy. And if you want to make, you know, do this in stages if you get nervous. I'm trying to remember what I did before. I think I also went like this, because you can't flip it back just like that. It's too tight. So I'm just cutting little, looks like I'm making 5. I don't know what those are called, but that's just so you can actually fold this over. Like this. I actually need another one. It's pretty darn tight. So do what you need to do to make it happen, because then we're going to fold over like this. Okay? Let's see if I need to cut this one too. And I'm also going to look at this from the front, see, because now I can get my hand in here. It's going to be a lot easier to like push the hoop back together, because mine was like popping up a little bit, so that's gonna look better now that I can get my hands in here. Okay, awesome. And then we're just gonna put glue here. Sorry, I keep getting off the camera there, guys. My little T-Rex arms here. Oops. Take the cap off your glue. How embarrassing. So I've decided to cut back on caffeine. I've only had 1/2 cup today, and that's all I'm going to have of coffee. I'm going to have some tea in a little bit. But it's just making me too caffeinated. But it's very sad having to say goodbye to it for now. All right, so I'm just peeling these back and encouraging them to stick. If you want to use the little clamps, I have some clamps around here somewhere that would be perfect for this. You don't need to use them. I'm not going to use them because I don't really know where my clamps are right now, but if you want, you can do that. Not the prettiest on the back, huh? It's kind of crazy looking. Okay, so if you feel like you need to add any glue anywhere else, or if you do want to use the clamps, you can even use them along here too if you want to, if you're not into the way this looks, if it makes you nervous. I mean, no one's going to see it, so I just leave it. And that's it. I need to lint roll mine, but I like to pop mine out a little bit too from this hoop. Of course, I don't think you can do that from the inner hoop. So, oh yes, I definitely need to do some lint rolling. But besides that, it's done. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments so everyone can see, because if you have a question, probably someone else has the same question. And I'll do my best to answer it. And if I need to do another video, I'll need to do another video, whatever. We'll make it work. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. Namaste.